Hey guys, welcome back to SLT Learning, and this is Ankit Prajapati, and today we're gonna cover another question on API testing and rest assured. So if you're applying for a QA automation job role or API automation job role, I will suggest just go through our playlist and you will find all the common questions or most frequently asked questions by the different tech companies over these years for the different experience level as well, like 0 to 7 year of experience person as well. So you will see mixed kind of questions on the technology. We have already created for Selenium, TestNG, Java, and the all other like manual testing related interview questions series as well. You can just go through and visit that particular list as well. So let's see what we're gonna cover today. So how do you handle the dynamic data in API request? Okay, so this is one of the crucial things and crucial questions they can be asked for the experienced person mainly, because in fresher they might be not aware about like how to handle the dynamic data. You can also explain the same thing if they ask you, okay, can you tell us some technical challenge that you have faced in your API testing. So you can just like describe like the dynamic data is always be a technical challenge for us to work on API testing. Okay, so let's see how you handle the dynamic data in API testing. So what is dynamic data? So the handling the dynamic data in API request means making sure your test scripts are flexible enough to use the values that change over the runtime, like the IDs, tokens, then timestamps, then the values of different API's response from the previous API call. So those kind of things, right, which dynamically change at the runtime, and your API should be flexible enough to adopt that changes and use that value in your API automation test case. Okay, so for that one, right, what you can do, you can use the variables and placeholders instead of hard coding the values. Store them and in a variables and use and replace at the runtime. So for that one, you can in a postman you can use like this way user ID. You can see this is the variable. You can pass these two variable from the environment variable or local variable or global variable, and you can pass these values for the user ID and the timestamps from this one. You see this is the two variables, and it will get the values for this variable and it will place the values over here. So in a postman you can like do like this way, but in rest assured like string user ID 123, and this user ID you can pass like get given path parameter ID and user ID you can pass like this way as well. So this is the dynamic assignment. You can change this user ID randomly, or you can generate the randomly user ID and you can pass through your API call as well. Okay, so use variable and placeholder. This is the one thing, and how you can do in postman and how you can do in rest assured. This both you can see over here. Okay, then parameterization with external data. You can store the data in CSV, JSON, Excel or database directly, and read dynamically data dynamically from there itself, and during the execution. From example Python plus prioritization request, what you can do, so you can just do like this way, import request, import JSON, and you see the data JSON.loadf. So you are you're opening the data.json file and you are loading all the data into this data variable, and then you can use for users in data.users, and you can provide that information over here to in a response to post these particular values in the response. Okay, for this particular post call. So you can read like in Java Selenium as well, you can retrieve the data from Excel and you can use the data, you can store in variable and you can use the data in your API call as well. Okay, so another things would be parameterization with the external data. So the third things would be capture and reuse the data from the previous API call. This is also called the API chaining. If they ask you how you can dynamically use the data or what is API chaining, so using the response of the previous API to your the current API, that is called the API chaining. Okay, and how you can achieve that one, you can use the postman, you can use the pre-request script. There is a section in a postman tool like pre-request script where you can set up this one, postman dot environment dot set authorization token is equal to pm.response.json and dot token. So whatever the response.json will have a token that will automatically store in this particular variable, and then this variable auth.token, this is environment variable, you can use in your other API calls, in other API like get data, post data and all those things call as well. Okay, now example rest assured chaining, like this is what you can do, like string token, I am creating a one variable token and I am getting given token.body and whatever the post login call, and I am fetching the token path.token. I am fetching and storing this over here after the login call, and then I can use this token variable. You see barrier plus token, I'm amending with the barrier name, so barrier space, then adding this token for the authorization purpose in a header. So this is another way you can use in registration for chaining. First create generate the token and store the token in a string variable, and then use that variable into the another call. Okay, so capturing and reusing the data in a previous API response. Generate the dynamic data on a fly. You can use some faker class, right? In Java, like you can use the faker class where you can randomly generate the names, email, and timestamps, like faker, new fakers, and string email address, faker.internet.email address. It will generate the dynamic email address, and you can just go and just use that particular things in your API text call. Okay. Then use environment specific configurations, like keep dynamic base URL, token, and credential in a config file. This is one of the things. Always use the environment specific configurations, example invited file or os environment variable file in Python, or this is the environment files in environment node.js. You can store those information, the configured information, URL and token and credential in that particular specific file. Okay, so I think, and the last things will be handle time based dynamic values. Always generate the timestamp or expiry based on the value that generated the runtime, and that is one of the crucial things to handle the dynamic data in API response code. So these are the 6 way, and these are the key syntax you should aware about when you answering this question in your interview. Okay, so if you like our video, please subscribe to our channel so we can come up with the more such videos for to take the interviews for you guys. Okay, take care.